Hark, ye lovers of vintage. Shouldst thou seek rare, curated designer treasures that exude style and sophistication, look no further than Funny Girl Vintage. A true haven for I'm going to commit seppuku. A true haven for exquisite vintage fashion. Here thou shalt find pieces that render thee both striking and splendid. At Funny Girl Vintage, they do not merely discover fine garments, they curate them with an artist's eye and a fervor for singular designer finds. From legendary labels to timeless classics, their collection is not but a trove of vintage elegance. Peruse their wares at funnygirlvintage.com or visit their showroom upon Melrose Avenue for a personal style consultation. And lo, for our esteemed podcast listeners, a special boon awaits. Enjoy a 10% discount on thy first order by employing the code NIGHT. Indeed, simply enter code NIGHT at checkout and relish a delightful discount on thy inaugural purchase. We extend our gratitude to Funny Girl Vintage for sponsoring this episode. That wasn't in Old English. That wasn't fun, the last part. Why didn't they make it fun?
Thank you, Funny Girl.
Thank you, Funny Girl.
We love you.
Sorry about my speech impediment.
Are they like a Ren Fair?
No, we just had ChatGPT do that.
It's our only sponsor that we've had every time. We just read it in Old English.
Oh, okay. It's Halloween or?
No.
It was just something fun to shake it up.
I thought it was.
Well, welcome back to Night School. I'm Jesse Zand.
I'm Alana Cloud Robinson.
And today we have a wonderful special guest today, Lianna Townsley.
Fun fact about Lianna and I is that we met when we were 2 years old, or I was 2 and she was 3. I've always had older friends because I'm very mature. And we met, I remember, there's still some debate about this. I remember it exactly. We were in the bathroom at Westside Waldorf. Our moms had taken us in there. They were washing our hands. She went to Waldorf too.
That's
wow,
crazy.
You're Waldorfian.
But our moms were like washing our hands. You know, where you stand behind a little kid and wash their hands. And I remember our moms introducing themselves. And I remember just like looking over at her. And then we were best friends and we played gnomes together. She was the pink gnome. I was the purple gnome.
Yes.
Aw, that's
I
so
always
sweet.
had to be pink or
yeah.
I'd be very upset.
Yeah.
That's fair. I pink is my favorite color, and it brings me such a level of happiness that I would not be satisfied as the blue gnome either. I can relate to that on a spiritual level.
Yeah.
I would just not play.
Yes. This is true. This is
She
true.
would just boycott.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so to kick it off, we always kick it off with a question. When do you feel your hottest and most confident? This is a timely question.
Great and difficult question. Probably after I get my hair done. I have to look perfect and amazing. I have a Virgo moon, so, you know, I have to present a certain way. I need to have like at least an hour to like get myself together, to present myself to the public, because there's like me at home versus me interacting with others like now. So I would say, yeah, I need to have time on my own to center myself, to dress perfectly, do my makeup perfectly, and then I'll feel close to my best. I don't know.
Does it depend on maybe the environment too? Like if you're doing something specific or where you are, your talents lie, you know, your gifts lie when you're demonstrating those things, does that give you a level of boosted confidence? The answer can be no. I'm just curious.
I mean, it does. Like, I like to feel like I'm good at what I'm doing. Like, if I'm performing, I definitely have to spend a lot of time preparing. If I don't feel prepared, then I don't feel good. So, yeah, I feel good usually when I can push myself to do something really scary or something that's difficult for me, and I push through it.
Bravery makes you feel beautiful.
Yes, bravery.
I can relate to that on a very deep level.
Yeah.
That is we're gonna unpack it all today. Alana.
Interestingly enough, I feel kind of similarly. For me, it's really about clothes. But I've found recently that I feel my best when I've taken like a fashion risk of some kind. So there's an element of bravery. When I take a fashion risk, and I hate that my self-esteem in some ways lies in the validation of others, but, you know, I'm being honest.
No, yeah.
If I go out wearing something that I was like, oh my God, I look insane. There's no way. And I go out and someone's like, you look great. I love this outfit. That to me is like the greatest high.
Wow.
But it's not like if I'm just wearing something like cute or pretty and I get that response, But if I've
It's a
taken a
risk.
risk and I'm doing something that's interesting and unique to me, then I feel like, okay, now I'm
Wow,
confident.
that's a level of bravery that I don't even think I have, because like Lianna, I feel like I take such meticulous time into what I wear, and like if I am not 100% confident in the way that I look, I have the same reaction that you have when you're just wearing something cute and pretty. I'm like, oh, they're just being like, whatever. Like they're just being nice to me. But that's really brave, I think, for especially for somebody who is, has been in front of the camera and stuff, like that you feel the bravest, like when you're taking a risk. Like that is actually, I think, a really much higher level of bravery.
Because I feel kind of, I don't feel myself when I'm dressed. I feel like we talked about this recently, but for a long time I dressed down for whatever reason. It just felt like, I don't know, this weird thing in LA where like you're supposed to look super hot, but also you're supposed to look like you haven't tried.
Right.
Yeah.
So I would like dress down a lot for the purpose of being like modest in some way. And then I realized one day I was like, oh, it doesn't make me feel good at all. Even if I'm like complimented. What makes me feel good is when I've done something psychotic. And then somebody, just one person says, well done.
I love that.
Yeah.
You need to help me with this. Because do
you want to dress like a vampire bat?
Yes, absolutely. I want to dress like a vampire bat that's taking risks.
My boyfriend tells me I dress like a steampunk. I'm kind of just embracing it.
I think you're more elevated than a steampunk. Like steampunk, it gives a little bit more chaos.
My boyfriend, every time I get this happened the other night, I was leaving the house and he goes, "Do you dream of a world of steam?" I was like, maybe I do. Maybe I do dream of a world of steam. Okay. I'm gonna bring steampunk back in 2025. Actually,
I think that's your path. This
that
next
is,
year.
yeah.
This next year, it's bringing steampunk.
I'm working
back.
my way up. By this time next year, I'll be wearing a top hat.
You're doing the full hello,
and a
my
monocle.
lady. Hello, my lady, like full circle moment.
Yes. And
You've
a
been like
monocle.
working your way towards this.
It's
look.
true.
It's been gradual.
It's true.
Been like 10 years.
If anybody
building up
knows
to
my
this.
style evolution, it's her.
Yes.
She's seen every iteration of it.
That's so funny.
Yeah.
You on like the first episode of 2025 in a top hat and a monocle. That's what's happening.
Yeah.
We can put it on the night school credit card.
Please.
Whatever.
And for whatever reason, I'll have like a prosthetic, like metal hand
And
or
a
something.
bird.
Yeah, and a bird. Perfect.
Keida, can we have a bird in the studio?
Yeah.
You need a raven.
Yes, exactly.
I think that would suit this whole goth steampunk
Yeah.
vibe.
Yeah. That's what I'm stepping into. Thank you for seeing me.
Speaking of seeing, so Lianna is an astrology expert, and based on the wonderful feedback we got from you guys about the tarot card episode, we decided to do, we'll venture into other topics, but we wanted to kind of kick this off today and bring an astrology expert in today to talk about our charts and just have us like let you guys know a little bit about us and like how it was written in the stars. So first, I think we said you were going to kick it off with synastry chart. Is that what that?
Yeah. Well,
Okay.
maybe we can break down each of your charts a little bit.
Yes, you take the lead, honey.
Yes.
I'm going to be bringing my phone out.
Yeah.
I mean,
Bring
I
it
already
out.
have Alana's chart memorized. This is a special gift that I have also.
Yes,
I have,
This was one of my big sells when I was mentioning bringing you on. Is it's kind of like uncanny. Lianna will meet someone one time. She will ask
I'm
what their
obsessed.
sign. She'll ask for their information for the rest of forever. I'll be talking about. She met my ex one time. And then months later, something happened, and she goes, "Oh yeah, because that's because of this in his chart." Blah blah blah. I'm like, how do you know that?
But if I look at the chart once, I can kind of like, it's like a beautiful mind. It will just kind of flash before me. Okay, so we're looking at Jesse's chart first. Should I hold it up?
Actually, no.
I don't think
Will you take a screen grab?
Yeah, take a screen. Yeah,
we
take
can
a screen.
Sure.
plug it in.
So,
Yeah.
like, the first thing I noticed is that you're born on September 11th, which is really cool.
9/11, never forget.
9/11. My dad also is born on that day.
Crazy. I've met literally one other person in my life who has ever had that birthday.
Have you gone down the rabbit hole?
Of it being fake. Yeah, in fact I think Payson showed us a documentary that was like debunking. I think
Really?
Oh yeah. It was all I'm gonna cut this, but yeah. I've explored.
Okay. I just had to get to know
Yeah.
you.
Yeah,
through that.
absolutely.
So, you are a Virgo sun. and you're a Virgo moon. So this means that you were born like around or on the full moon. And I would say having the Virgo sun and moon together would be like maybe a lot of control issues, not to be negative out the gate, but
You can give us to us.
Okay.
straight.
No, you can literally
I'm gonna be
read me the filth.
Yeah.
Okay, I don't want to be insulting.
No,
No.
there's nothing you can say that'll insult me. I'm a comic.
I just kind of have to say what comes to mind.
Yeah.
literally
for it to be
feel
real.
free.
Yeah.
I'm a comic. You can say
Okay.
literally. You can say that thing tells you that I am a trash panda living in my own filth, and I'll
Oh
be like,
no,
you're
it
right.
doesn't say that. Don't worry.
Cool.
So first of all, we're going to start with the sun and moon. You have your sun at 19 degrees. So 19 is a Libra degree.
Okay. What does that mean?
So Libra is all about, it's an air sign. It's about balance. They like to keep the peace. I always think of like political people because they know how to kind of pander.
Diplomacy.
That's very
Diplomacy.
true.
Yeah.
In my day job, that is one of the biggest pieces of positive feedback I get is that I am very politically aware and aware of the way that people's relationships manifest and the different power structures at play. And I am
Yes.
very good at positioning myself in ways that are beneficial to my job and my professional growth because of that political placement, I guess.
Well, it makes sense because you have your Virgo sun and moon in the 7th house, which is also a Libra house. This is they call this the descendant, so it's the opposite of your rising sign. Your rising sign is Pisces. So Pisces and Virgo are polar
They're
opposites.
yeah,
Yes.
aren't they?
So maybe the way that you initially present yourself is different than who you really are. 'Cause
So true.
they call the rising sign the mask you wear to the world. But I also think it's like a really integral part of your personality. It's kind of like how you project your true self through. It's like the lens.
That's very
You know?
true. I think I present as a very buttoned up, serious, like non-feeling person, but I'm actually
Very sensitive.
very sensitive.
Well, I would say that that's true because you have your Saturn there in the 1st house. There's a lot of restriction. It can make you compact too in your physical appearance. My
Oh,
mom has that too.
tiny and horny.
Yeah, I can see that. So also going back
to your physical appearance.
well, because it's about your physical appearance and
the
the rising sign.
the rising
So
sign.
you
Oh, so
have
interesting.
Pisces rising, but you have Saturn and Aries in the 1st house. So you'll be going through your Saturn return soon. I wish you luck. It's
Mine
it's a
was a
journey.
roller coaster ride.
Yeah.
Am I still in it?
Yeah, so am I.
Okay.
I'm like white knuckling it, holding on.
What is, for people who don't know, what is your Saturn return?
Your Saturn return, this happens at a couple different stages in your life, but around 27 to 30, this is like where I don't know how to describe it. I guess like your life, you go through all of these extreme challenges that forever change you and help you grow and enter the next chapter, probably of adulthood. So you're kind of going from your adolescence into adulthood, and you have hard lessons that you
My
go
mom's
through.
always also said that there's almost like this like call to action that occurs during the solar return. Sorry, what is it? Saturn return.
yeah.
During the Saturn return, where it's like almost like you're presented with a choice to like rise to the challenge, and your life then unfolds dependent upon that choice you make. So like if you
Yes.
go through these trials
Oh, fuck.
and if you go through these trials and you don't learn anything and you shy away from it or whatever, then it can kind of like leave you suspended in this place, or if you rise to the challenge and take things on, then it can catapult you to like the next phase of your life kind of thing.
Yeah.
So am I in my Saturn return right now?
No, don't worry. You're okay.
Okay.
You can just like prepare.
Okay.
You're good for a bit.
Okay.
But I wanted to get back to you talking about the Libra qualities that you
Yeah.
have, because you have what they call a stellium in the 7th house. And this 7th house represents Libra, but you also have some Libra placements. You have your Mercury, which is how you communicate, in Libra at 0 degrees. So that's like the purest version of the sign when it's 0.
Oh.
So the essence of it. I think you probably know how to use your words to get you.
And on this podcast too,
Yeah.
I am often the balance between the two of you.
Yes.
That
You can keep the peace.
yeah, I keep, well, not even that, but more so like I'm the emotional, like we've got, it's funny, I'm the stand-up comic, but you know, the girls are definitely to me like the funniest parts of the podcast. I'm more of like the emotional through line and heart. And I'm like,
The container. You contain things.
Yeah, I contain things. And I feel like I do balance the qualities, right?
Yeah.
Like keep things, you know, keep the agenda, keep things moving, edit, you know, do those things.
That would be probably your Virgo sun and moon. Very organized, on top of things.
Yeah, and then the dynamic being with Libra. That's really interesting.
Yes, and your North Node is also in Libra there, which is kind of like your destiny, I guess. This is like what you're moving towards in this lifetime. So that all makes sense. And then you have your Venus and your Mars in Leo, which is probably like the fun part of you, I would say. Alana also has her Mars in Leo, so that's you'll have that in common. But Venus is like your love style, how you express your femininity, your taste in art and all of that.
Oh, interesting.
And so Leo would be everything that is kind of like flashy, larger than life, the entertainer. And I think you need someone that would really put you up on that pedestal. And you all, because you do the same in relationships. So that's just like a little overview. And then I guess, should we go to Alana's?
Yeah.
And then we can compare them?
Yes.
Okay. Let's look at Alana's. I know that Alana is Aquarius sun with a Gemini moon. So you both have Mercury moons. Mercury is the planet of communication. So it makes sense that you guys are here yapping on a podcast. And I also think like this is, so the moon sign is how we communicate our feelings. And this is like the deepest part of ourselves. And when you have Mercury, you want to express through words how you feel. So probably writing, talking, anything that's going to be of that nature. You have to get it like up and out. There's no like repressing and bottling up.
That's why we bond over being like our biggest thing being misunderstood.
Yes.
Our intellectual, when our intellectual argument is being misunderstood, that is, especially in our writing.
The greatest fear.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And
It's
frustration.
being misunderstood.
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's not a fun thing. So Alana, she has a Leo rising. So I would say, I mean, I should look at your synastry chart, but I would say that you would probably have some overlays in her first house. So you kind of bring out her personality. That's fun. And
I would say that's actually extremely accurate. I remember the first night we met, that was one of the things I said when I came home, is I was like, it's so fun to be able to do a bit with someone, like kind of continuously.
Yeah.
Because I think we're both, because of you being a comic and me being, I don't know, just the way I've
You're
always
a
been
writer.
inclined. Yeah. It's like I do like to, in a group of friends, it's very fun for me to be able to perform jokes
Yeah.
as we're all in a group. And you were doing the same thing and it was really fun.
Yeah. And I mean, I've said this before too. Your riffing ability is uncanny. I mean,
Thank
like
you.
in another life, I know stand-up wasn't in the cards for you, but it could be. Like you're
Thank you.
so
there's still time.
I know. Yeah. I mean, we gotta unpack this because the way that your brain works and the speed at which it moves. I mean, quite frankly, it's faster than me at times because I'm like, and I love that I get to, that this side of you gets to come out on the podcast. Like when I'm editing it, my biggest laughs come from you because
thank you.
you
That's very
are
sweet.
fucking out of this world with what you fucking say. And
Thank
it's and the element of comedy that's so fun is surprise, right? There's tragedy plus timing and all that, but like you have your takes and your element of surprise and timing is just so pinpoint,
Thank you.
accurate, tactical, sharp. It's unreal.
Thank
Sorry,
you.
I digress. Continue, please. I'm fascinated. I'm
Thank you.
riveted.
Well, I think she has, you have a lot of planets in the 6th house. So that's like a Virgo house. So I think that's something that you guys would connect. Because I don't just look at like the sign that each planet is in. You have to look at the house that they're in too, because that's like the environment.
Interesting. Okay.
And it adds another layer. So I look at the sign, I look at the house, and then I look at the degree. And those are kind of like are the three things that will color each placement and tell a story about who you are. So Alana has her sun in Aquarius, her Mercury in Aquarius in the 6th house. And then you also have your Uranus there. And I think
My
that
anus is where?
your Uranus is in the 6th house.
Okay.
And
If you say so.
And I think that can probably have a lot to do with how quick you are and like with your comedy and I guess like off the cuff things that you say that no one's expecting because that represents like the unexpected. So
what does the Uranus placement like represent?
So that's going to be a generational planet because they take so long to move. It's like an outer planet. So we all share like the same placements usually. They're just in different houses. So
Interesting.
it
Okay.
would be in the same sign. It's in Capricorn. So we all share that. But the house that it's in will really tell you more about
Got it. And
how it
hers
shows
is
up
in
for
the
you.
6th. You
Hers
said.
is in the 6th.
Got it.
And the 6th house is all about like health and your daily life. And Alana's really into like health and
Guru Cloud Robinson. That's what we call her.
her. So it makes sense.
Yeah.
I'm just putting the pieces together. And then you also have your Venus in the 5th house. So it makes sense that you like to express yourself through your fashion. You're an entertainer. You're a performer in a lot of ways.
A court jester, if you will.
Yes, a
My lady.
jester of sorts. And then your Gemini moon is in the 10th house, that's the most visible house in your chart. And it's a fame sign.
We knew this.
Yeah.
We've been
they say
calling
the
her-
moon in the 10th house is like one of the best placements to have. And I think that it would make sense that you are doing a podcast, but then also you write because Gemini is a Mercury sign. So you're expressing yourself and then for the world to see.
Mm.
Also,
So-
that shrimp video. 1.3
Yeah.
and counting, baby.
Yeah, I looked at that and I saw someone say, "Is Lianna an Aquarius?"
I saw
and
that
I was
too.
like,
I immediately was like, yes, LOL. And that was kind of like the catalyst for this episode. I was like, we gotta get somebody on to explain this.
You
Your-
maybe tell us how we are in relationships,
Yeah.
Okay. In
like romantic maybe romantic relationships and in friendships.
Okay.
Love it. Yes.
Okay. So let's look at Alana's. I like to look at the Venus sign and the moon for romantic and your relationships. So you have your Venus is in Capricorn. So I feel like you're very serious when you get serious with someone. But because it's in the 5th house, you like to play and you like to have fun. And you like to flirt. And so if you're not locked down, then you're really untethered and free. So it's kind of like
Tea.
that's my take on you in relationships. And then also I think you need someone that understands how your mind works and can kind of speak and talk with you and unpack your feelings because there's a lot of unpacking.
Mm-hmm.
That
Like
has
you
to
said,
be done.
before you go to bed, you got to yap.
I got a yap.
Yes.
I get the yapping zoomies, and then it's everybody's problem.
I mean, I do that too. Then let's look at yours. I always memorize Alana's. So yours is in the 6th house. So I would say in the 6th house, you need someone who's like your best friend. You need someone that you can talk to like all the time, who answers all the time. And
Who answers all the time.
Yeah.
well, you don't want someone who's like,
Flighty.
Yeah.
there's no
Yeah.
flightiness here. You need kind of a
Consistency.
ride or die,
Yes.
I would say, with Leo being your Venus sign. But in the 6th house, I think someone that you can be really comfortable with, like being your true everyday self. Like you don't have to always dress up or always be perfect. And that's like rare to find, but that's a value for you whether that's a friend or someone that you're dating, you need someone you can be all of the versions of yourself with.
No
And
filter.
No filter, no judgment.
Yeah.
And someone who like gasses you up too.
Yeah.
I think
I've
that's
noticed
important.
that like that it's very hard for me to receive compliments.
Yeah.
It's really difficult for me. And I find with men specifically, it either doesn't hit or I don't admire the person giving me the compliment. So I'm like, this is like if a piece of bread told me I look pretty. I don't care. Like, who the fuck cares? Like, okay, cool. Thank you. This is meaningless. So I think it's rare that I find someone that I deeply admire who can give me my flowers and that I'm able to receive it in a way that I'm like, oh, wow, that like meant something to me. And it's not happened a lot.
Yeah, I can see that. I think that would be your Virgo placements, your Virgo moon. It's very self-critical. It's not an easy placement. I say it's the hardest placement because I also have a Virgo moon. And I think you need someone that really sees you and respects your mind. It's not just about appearances or surface level compliments. You want someone that like respects your work and how much you do and how much you put out in the world. That's,
ding, 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 ding.
That's my take. I think you also need someone who's adventurous and fun.
Yeah.
Very true, because she's an athletic person.
Yeah.
Like, I couldn't date you. Sorry. If you asked me to play tennis with you, I'd be like, she's not the one for me.
Yeah, I think you have a lot of energy.
Yeah, I have to have somebody that is athletic. Like, I had a guy tell me once that he didn't like working out, and it was the biggest ick in the world. I was like, I'll never see you again. I'll never see you again. Like, I don't care if my friends don't, like, whatever. Like, but like for a guy, like, that's so tied to like the way that I grew up very, like, my mom was a professional dancer. My dad has always been extremely athletic. Like, I grew up in a house that, like, I was a competitive tennis player. Like, that's a common, like, thing that I have to have with my person is that, like, we have to enjoy being athletic and going out and exercising together, because if that's not there, then all we're going to do is just sit on the couch and vegetate. And I'd actually rather perform a lobotomy on myself. So.
I just run my mouth. That's my exercise.
When I called you last night, you're like, I am not the friend you called move. I am not the friend but I am the friend where you called for this. And
I can listen and give advice for 6 hours on the phone. That's my superpower in friendship.
So funny.
This is true.
Yeah. Not a great physical, this is such a big conversation, but like I've talked a lot about this, how like it's hard to not sound like an asshole, but I'm like, don't call me when you're moving. That's not, I'll help you organize once you're in, because that's like my thing. Like I can help you organize things, put things together, but I'm so not the person to help you get from point A to point B unless it's emotionally. And then I can absolutely do that.
Then you're so gifted.
Yeah.
Alana will talk to you while you're packing.
Yes, exactly. Exactly.
She'll unpack with
Let's
you
talk about
emotionally,
yes.
but she won't pack with you physically.
No. But then if you leave me to my own devices in your house, like my mom just moved and I was like, get out of the kitchen. And then I like color coded everything and like put, shelf liner and like changed all the hardware. Because it's like playing The Sims in real life. I like building and putting things together.
That's so impressive.
Yeah,
That's
Alana's
a
good
girl
at like
boss.
putting things up on the wall.
Yes.
Yeah,
She's
your
good at putting
place
up a
is immaculate.
shelf and like a picture frame. I still cannot do that. Alana and I live together, and I was like, you decorate.
Really?
Yeah, she was the only, I had another roommate, but she was the last person I lived with.
That's amazing.
So
Yeah,
I
we
love
lived
that.
together, and Alana put everything up, and I still don't know how to use a power drill because I just let her do it because she's better.
That's so funny.
It is really funny though, because when I first moved into my place, and as I've mentioned, my boyfriend and I were at war about design. It's finally we're at peace. Finally,
It's stunning,
I won the war. Thank you.
It's stunning.
I won the war, but in the beginning, I was just having this like mental breakdown over him not letting me do what I wanted, because I was like, how is it that I'm moving in with a man and he won't let me do what I want with the design when I lived with one of my girlfriends who has a strong sense of style and likes pretty things.
Yeah.
And she was like, do whatever you want.
Yeah, I
Like,
had
that's
fun.
why is that?
It was like I had a decorator.
I used to be like, Lianna, what do you think about this? And she's like, love it.
That's exactly
Mhm.
how I am. I'm like, when it comes to anything like visual like that, I'm like, have at it. Like it is not my wheelhouse. I will help you. I will help you build a business. I will help you set up whatever it is you need set up on the computer, like that Virgo tendency. But I do not any of the meticulous, like I'm not a crafty person.
I'm not either.
I can't paint. I can't
I can't
hang.
either.
I can't draw. I can't even cut a t-shirt into a crop top. Okay, like straight. It is a deficit of mine. I am a liability when it comes to anything crafty.
Alana's very crafty.
I am quite crafty.
I mean, it's a skill that I so admire because it's completely out of my wheelhouse.
It mostly comes from me having to sort of wear myself out, though. It's like
It's your
I
version of
need,
exercise.
Yeah, I need projects. My mind is so active that I need things to kind of keep me. Like I do so many different little tiny craft things because
You have lots of hobbies.
yeah,
You
yeah.
can do like clay, felt, crochet.
That's so impressive.
Yeah.
See,
Yeah,
I just
knitting.
Alana will like make you something, which
yeah,
is very
I made
Waldorf.
that beautiful necklace
Yeah.
for my birthday. Yeah.
Mhm.
Okay,
I
so
do
what
like
is
to
she
make
like in
things.
relationships though?
Yeah.
What is she
Um,
or in love? Whatever the question was for me, for her now.
I think that like I said, Alana has a Capricorn Venus. So they're very serious and they can really commit. But because it's in the 5th house, I think when she's not in a relationship, she likes to have fun and date and not be serious. There's like a side that's very serious and a side that's very fun. And they're kind
And
of
never the twain shall meet.
And I think that you like someone that you can have like a lot of fun with.
Yeah.
Like, I think if you're not having a lot of fun in your relationship and they're not serious, then you're gone.
Yeah, it's true.
Yeah, you and Frank have so much fun together. Like I can see it.
Yes, but it was also a significant transition from when we first started dating. It was just fun,
Yes.
debaucherous, good old fashioned fun.
Fun.
But
yeah.
that's
Fun,
because
fun.
he is a Gemini
Yeah,
and
yeah,
you have a
do Frank.
Gemini moon. So you have the sun-moon connection, which is really fun. So he like understands your very busy mind,
Yeah,
very complex. Gemini is the twins, but they're aware of each other. So you have like your dark side and your light side. It's like the angel and the devil. And then I would say Pisces is similar, but they're unaware. They have two sides.
is that
of
his
it.
rising?
No, it's
No.
yours.
Oh, it's yours. Okay.
So I know that we were talking about, I mean, I don't want to change the subject too much.
No,
but
no. Go ahead.
Go wherever.
on the topic of these two signs being similar, Gemini and Pisces, they're both mutable, and Gemini is aware of its good and bad side, and Pisces is not. And I think that's why Pisces is like the number one sign of serial killers,
Sick.
because they have this dark side that I think that they repress about themselves.
Interesting.
I have
Just
been called a
that's
love
food for
psycho.
thought.
That's like when I did my like branding workshop for comedy. I like sat in a room and people like wrote adjectives about me, and one of them was like lovable psycho. Like literally, people I had never met before. It was literally just the aura that I was giving off in a room for
Interesting.
3 minutes.
So I think Pisces can love really hard.
Yeah, 100%. I love when I love somebody, like they are my, like I'm putting them on a pedestal, like I'm posting them, like I'm like, you're my person, no apologies. But it takes a lot for me to get there, and I'm incredibly picky. Like so, but when I'm there with somebody, I'm like, I'm your everything, you're my everything, and if you fucking step out of line,
Emotional bitch slap.
Emotional bitch slap.
Yeah. Yeah.
Domestic violence is not okay.
Do we want to do the celebrity chart thing or the?
Oh yeah. Yes. Was there anything
Or-
interesting though in the synastry chart?
Yeah, let's look at the synastry.
Because
Okay,
I do
yeah.
like
Let's
like
see your
this.
vibe
Okay.
together.
Yeah, our vibe together. Because we are, what I think is so cool about this podcast and what I've loved doing it, and is that we've got to do this now collaborative adventure together, and it through our friendship. Because
Yeah.
when we first met, we met through Izzy,
Yeah.
and instantly hit it off. And I was fascinated by your mind. And
Same.
when you came to the podcast the first day, fun little historical fact for everybody, she was just a guest for the first time.
Alana was?
Yeah. And then we did it, and I was like, okay, stop the roll. Like, we've hit something magical here. I'm not, do you want to do this full time? Do you want to be a permanent co-host? So I love that we've gotten to like, as we've gotten closer, both like on camera and off camera, it's like been through this collaborative, it's almost like Truman Show, like it's through this collaborative endeavor.
Fun fact, that's how I've gotten every job ever, is by just charming someone until they said, do you want to stay? And me going, all right.
Well, in retrospect, I'd been stalking you for years, so I'd done my research.
What's Izzy's sign? Do you know?
Izzy's a Pisces.
That's so sweet.
She's a Pisces sun. I think she said she's a Taurus moon, and she's a Virgo rising.
You guys have a lot in common.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, let's see. I'm looking at the synastry chart. So the outer wheel is you. So the synastry is where you take the charts and you overlay them, and then you see how your planets affect each other.
Yes.
Which is fun. So what are there any like specific things that you want to know? Good or bad?
I just tell us what you see, I think.
Yeah.
Okay. So I see that your Virgo moon is in Alana's first house. So I think that shows that you can really share how you feel, and there's like an emotional closeness there. I think I have that too because I have the same moon sign. So that's a really good sign for friendship. And like Alana validates your feelings.
100%.
Kind of like a therapist.
Literally
friend.
Literally last night I was like, you just gave me a session that I would have paid $1,000 for.
Yeah, she's good at that.
Thank you.
You're good when someone's kind of like neurotic. Like we are.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, because those who can't do teach,
Yes.
as I always say. And I'm a bit all over the place and neurotic myself. So when somebody comes to me with their own neurotic mind, it's easy for me to zoom out and go, okay, well, let's organize this and put this in place. And then when we get off the phone, I go and run circles around and cry hysterically and bang my head against the wall.
Okay, let's see what else. What else do I see? I see that your Jupiter is in Alana's 5th house, and it's right on top of her Venus. So you really encourage her creativity. I mean, it makes sense. She's here on the show. You asked her to stay. So, yeah, I think that, and also you share a sense of humor because Jupiter is the sign of expansion, good luck, wisdom, and I think humor. Like when I think of like Sagittarius energy, I think of humor and all of that.
What about this Venus overlay? Because she and I had a conversation last night about some things that I don't think we need to go into very much. But like, what does that mean? Like the fact that it's
Like
overlaid.
our philosophies of love, you mean? Like
yeah,
that
is it philosophies of love or is it a prophecy?
I would say that when you have the Jupiter-Venus connection, it means that you guys give each other a lot of positive feedback.
Okay.
Like you really, I don't know, it's an expansive planet.
Totally.
So it's kind of like, it's like I said before, kind of like you gas her up. And
She does.
yeah.
Immensely.
So I think that, and that's really positive. You want that in relationships. You want that in friendship. You don't want the opposite where someone's restricting you and kind of keeping you small.
Yeah.
So you want her to be
100%.
her biggest self.
I love that you're on this with us and that like you are like the humor rock for us because it's given me the space with this podcast now. And this was always a goal for me was that like, and I didn't really understand it until as we've started to do it was like I really wanted this to be a place where I could, because I'm funny on stage. That's where I get my kicks, you know? But I wanted this podcast to be something bigger and something for me to show a more vulnerable side. And by letting your freak flag fly, it's given me the space to be this other half of myself that I don't get to show on stage because it's not the right environment. And so that's, I love.
That's kind of how I feel about being able to be funny on here because I am, with the career that I'm moving into with writing and everything, I'm presenting a more serious side of myself most of the time.
Yeah,
so
for
on
sure.
here, I get to be funny and strange. So it's a good outlet for me too. It's perfect.
It's perfect.
Yin and yang.
And then I see Lana's moon is in your third house. The third house is, it's a Gemini house, and she has a Gemini moon. So you like when the moon is there. You can really communicate. You can joke. I feel like it's kind of lighthearted. Like you can laugh about your problems.
Me bawling on the phone last night going, just forgot to mention it's just a tick, but like we need to really set up a photo shoot soon. Like,
yeah, I think that's like a really great camaraderie.
yeah.
Which is important, and you don't always find that with everyone. So I think that's really positive. And then I also see going both ways. Alana's sun and her Mercury are in your 12th house, and your Venus and your Mars are in her 12th house. And the 12th house is the house of your subconscious self. So it's kind of like a subconscious understanding of each other.
Interesting.
And I think that can make you feel more comfortable if you're comfortable with that energy. Some people don't like it. But
No, you keyed into something last. It's so funny that we're doing this because like I'm actually so happy we're doing this. I'm so happy I called you last night. Full disclosure, guys, I had a full mental B last night. Called Alana, had an hour and 15-minute conversation, hysterically crying. Had therapy earlier that day, and Alana did more than sorry Meredith, way more helpful than Meredith's session earlier in the day. And you keyed in on something for me that I hadn't been addressing, and it was a subconscious thing that you just kind of were like, yeah. No, this is this. And, like, you have to move through this. And, like, you were able to do it in a way. And you were also able to give me that reframe. Like, this is a course. Like, you're going to have to do this course.
Mm-hmm.
And, like, that this is how you need to approach this. And I'm sorry, Gina's right. You are close as fuck to source. Like, you got it. Like, you're intuitive AF.
Close as fuck to source. Yeah.
New merch.
Well, that's my beautiful mind area, I think, is people with, like, you know, intuiting, feeling into what someone's dealing with and finding the words to help them reframe it or look at it differently or help them through a particularly difficult moment. That's where I kind of like black out and just let whatever comes through come through.
It's a gift because, I mean, for me, for somebody who is, I mean, incredibly closed off and like will fight an intellectual argument that I don't necessarily, like, for against my own feelings and how I'm feeling to avoid them, you were able to kind of just go like whoosh, key in and say it in a way and phrase it in a way that I was able to receive. And that I think is the real gift too. It's like, it's one thing to know the answer, but it's another thing to know how to present it.
We got to learn how to speak people's language.
Yeah, Alana's very good at that.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I think you're good at being not offensive.
I think part of it is growing up with my parents the way they are. My parents are both very, very outspoken, sometimes to a point where it can, in my opinion, be a little bit offensive. And it was always from the perspective of like, this is who I am and this is how or I'm right. So why wouldn't I say this? So I become very sensitive to, my mom used to say it was like people pleasing, but I think it's kind of worked in my favor in the long run because out of a desire not to wound people, I became very good at listening to the small sort of cues about them so that I could, because like, why would I tell you a piece of information that I wanted you to get in a language that you don't understand?
Right.
Then it becomes about me and my ego and me giving you the advice that I think I want to give you versus putting it in a particular format so that it can be received by unique, different people. So
it's a gift because, I mean, I feel like I'm good at giving advice, but I don't think that I am always as you are much better at being able to say the advice in a language that they'll understand, because that takes a certain level of expanded awareness of other people and the way that they digest information to be like, okay, this is what I'm trying to say, kind of to the fact that you're a writer. I'm going to now rework what this piece of advice is into a language that and to words and an understanding that you will then receive. Detached from ego, but just even the fact that you're able to conceptualize that in a way. Like I definitely struggle with that. I'm like, this is the way that I see things.
Hey, it's not always perfect. There's certainly times where
Nobody's perfect.
I can cross lines and all kinds of stuff with people for sure. But I do my best.
Yeah, that's beautiful. After looking at both of our charts, what is like the one piece of advice that you feel like we need to carry forward? Personal, professional, podcast, whatever it is. Whatever you feel compelled.
Looking at both of us, what would you tell us?
Let's see.
What do we need to hear?
I would say don't try to be too perfect. Don't let your emotions get in the way
For you, Jesse.
for you. And does Alana really need advice? Let's see. Don't overthink things.
Mm.
And
What do you mean? What do you mean by that?
yeah, just like be yourself. You know, you don't have to try hard at all. Like, and it doesn't matter how you present yourself. Like, it's really cool when you dress up and everything, but you don't have to if you don't feel like it, because you're still unique and everyone can see that.
You're
Thank you.
magnetic.
I like that.
Yay. Well, Lianna, thank you so much for joining. This hour flew by. I learned so much. I also feel like you and I learned like more about each other and our own relationship too, and it was really, really special. Do you have like any like Instagram or anything you want to plug or
Just like my Instagram
at
at Queen Lianna.
Love? We'll
Are you
we'll
still doing
plug
your
it in.
charts?
You can
Do you wanna
DM
plug
me
that?
if you want to chart. I had a website, but I didn't feel like really paying for it anymore. So if you have anything that you want to know, you can just DM me.
Amazing.
Do it.
Well, thank you guys for joining, schoolies. Like, comment, subscribe. Please rate us on Apple Podcasts and Spotify. Drop a comment on our YouTube. We'll be doing advice questions next episode. So that will be tinyurl.com/nightsschooladvice. Questions, comments, confessions, feedback. Actually, you know what? Scratch that. Feedback, send that to the email, nightschooldropouts@gmail.com. We love you guys, and we'll see you next time. Bye.